Yeah, we're all good. All right. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hey everyone, welcome to yet another hackathon. Um, I know we got a few people watching right now. Let's kind of dive into what we're going to plan on doing today. Um, I threw out a little poll to a handful of folks out there, and the consensus was that people wanted to see a little bit about custom reporting and how we could maybe dive in and get some information about contents of collections or save searches or something along those lines. So what we're gonna do today is build a tool that will go into any collection and then go through all of its sub collections as well. So traverse the whole hierarchy, and we're gonna get out some metrics from that. So hey, show me how many hours of content and audio and video and how many images maybe that I have in there, and how much storage is all the stuff in that collection actually taking up on my various storages. Does it live in multiple places? How much can I account for? If I deleted all the content inside that collection, how much storage would it free up? I think both of these would be pretty useful tools to have. Um, so let's dive in. So I think first and foremost, as always, we're going to map out a little bit about how we're going to do this. I got a rough plan in my head. I think first we're going to start with a custom action inside Iconik, and we're going to do something we haven't done on hackathons yet. We're going to do this in an open context. Open, which means that we're going to have a local URL handler. And my laptop that I'm on right now, I didn't kick the screen over again. Learn better than this. There we go. Here's my screen. Okay, so we're going to have a custom action that is going to use the open context, and that means that the actual hey, look at that. My camera's tiny on this one too. I thought I fixed all this. Make me the right size. All right. This is going to open an action and then run code local on my computer that will talk to Iconik and get you some sort of feedback into the loop. And so what we're going to do is run a custom action. And what I think I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to write it in Python because that's all I know, because I'm a big dummy when it comes to that stuff. But I think I'm going to use AppleScript for a URL handler registration. So that's pretty easy to do, so that when I click the little button, it'll hand off to my Python script without me having to build any sort of web stack stuff or anything along those lines. I'm just going to use the local OS. And then that is going to run a Python script, right? And then the Python script is, I think I'm just going to dump the report on my desktop. Dump report desktop as a file, right? So we can just open that report up. So that's going to be the logic flow of our little workflow today. To do this, we should probably break down what the Python script itself is going to have to do. So we're going to run this on a collection, or in theory, we can run it on a save search as well, because realistically, there's not too much difference between the two of them. And it's the fact that we just get a large list of objects back, and we got to kind of sort through that list of objects. So first thing we have to do is we get, saved search or collection ID back. From that, we will then have to loop through recursively, or there's a new feature that is in the latest release, or we can use I can't remember what the heck we call it. Let me look what it's actually called, because I could just make up a name, but if I just made up a name, that wouldn't be very helpful for anyone else that's trying to do what I'm going to do. At my docs. We call it ancestor collections. Okay. So any collection that got created after our latest release, which was a week and a half ago, or any collection that has an inherited or propagated ACL on it, which is a new feature in our last release, can use this ancestor collection. The recursive lookup, that's going to work on any collection, no matter what its permissions were when it was created, anything along those lines. So if you really want to future-proof this, you'd want it to do recursive. Eventually, we'll get to reindexing all the old collections behind the scenes, or you can force this on old ones by just applying a propagated ACL. And again, we'll do this in a little bit. But you don't really have to do that right away. So we're going to try to do it both ways. We'll see which one comes back with the fastest results and then figure it out from there. And then once we've done that, we have to, inside that loop, we have to say is asset or is asset, right? And then what do we want to get out of that? We want to get the length of the clip, right? Length. And that's going to be in milliseconds. That's what we store it in, which means we also need the frame rate, because if we want to know actually how many minutes it is, actually, I lied. We do length in milliseconds, so I don't really need the frame rate if we're just looking for raw length. That's only for time code calculations. And then we need the size of that particular item, and then the type, right? So image, video, audio, other, just so that we can kind of categorize each one of those. And then we'll put those all into a dictionary, and then that eventually dumps out up here to our report, right? So with all that said, let's dive into this. I've probably years ago made a URL handler for AppleScript. I quickly Googled this maybe 10 minutes ago. There's a little Stack Overflow link on it. So I think the first thing we're going to try to do is create our custom action and just have it, barf out some information so that we can make sure that that part's working, the URL handler is working. And for anybody that's not familiar with a URL handler, I'm sure you've seen this before. You notice that HTTPS, that generally opens in browsers. Sometimes you'll see file : / or sometimes you'll see something like Slack : / or other. And what that is, it's a custom handler for a string of a location string. That's what a URL is, right? And it tells it to hand it off to an application. On every modern computer, HTTP and HTTPS hands it over to the web browser because, well, that's what web browsers do, right? They browse HTTP and HTTPS sites. But you can register your own to run your own custom local applications and hand information off. So let's first open up Script Editor just so we can, and we're going to actually just test this theory, right? So we're going to make a new script, and we're going to say on open location this URL, which is the actual trigger. And in this case, I'm just going to do say it worked so that we can hear if it worked, and then we can say end open location. And if I run this, that registers the URL handler, I think. Okay, now I got to remember how you actually register the URL handler. Oh, we got to save it as an application bundle and then go in and do this stuff, right? Let's read through this. Because this is okay. So this is an application. So we say save. I want to save that as. But how do you register this? I'm going to open the thing that I did a long time ago and see how I did it there. That's the best way to figure this out. Now I got to figure out where that thing is. There it is. Reveal that in the Finder. And drag that onto here. And look at my code for this. Register this as a color. Double click. Okay. Properties. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This is what I want to figure out, is because that's the actual URL string, but I can't remember. That's the only place I put it. So that means that it's in the preferences somewhere. In the actual, maybe this article, if I actually read it. Okay. Find the application bundle, open the contents info. Okay, there, yeah, that's fine. So, close this. Let's save this. Just save this to the desktop, and we will call it collection port URL handler. And we will save that as an application. And then I think we have to double click it once so that it creates its actual, where did I have desktop? So it creates the plist, collection report, and this should do nothing when I double click it. Didn't. Okay, cool. Then if we go into the application bundle itself, so we go, oops, right click, and show package contents, and info.plist. Open this up. Look at it. Oh, maybe I should look at this actually on my other one that is working properly. Let's do that. That seems almost smarter. Probably copy and paste. So that one again. Package contents. Yep, there it is. Okay. The URL scheme. So this right here, this little dict right here, that is inside this array actually, right? Because I think that that's all of it. Is that all of it? Lost it. Scrolled too far. Where did I? Am I blind? Did I delete it? What just happened? Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this array right here lives inside the parent level dict. Yeah. So this is what we want to add to our new info plist. So we hop over here and up at the top here inside this dict. Let's make sure that we don't already have that. Nope, we don't. So we'll put that in there. And then we're going to change the name to Iconic Collection Handler. And then this is the actual URL handler itself. So this is what we're going to register. And I think we can call this Iconic-Collection Handler, right? So what this means is it will be Iconic, just to put some sense to this. Yeah, Ted, yes. So what we're going to do, sorry, I just saw your chat here. So the whole point of this is so because there's no easy way to run a Python script from a URL handler call without registering it with AppleScript, we're going to just use AppleScript to hand off all the information that our Iconic custom action has to our Python script. And so what this is going to look like is... where I can close this one now. Oh, whoops. No, I can't. I can save that, copy that. Now I can close that. So what it'll actually look like is : / and then the URL that gets sent by my custom action, which in this case, I get to make up this URL. So I can say it's localhost. It doesn't really matter, or I can put whatever gibberish I want in here, because the important part is going to come in the parameter IDs that Iconic sends. And maybe it makes sense to back this out a little bit so that you guys can see how custom actions work in Iconic first. So if we pop open a new window and go to Iconic, I've built a very simple URL handler already. And all this URL handler, or not URL handler, but custom action that is a open custom action. And you'll see it's this one called get vars. And if I select anything inside of Iconic or multiple things, it doesn't really matter, and hit get vars on it, you can see it says, hey, click here to open the link. As soon as I open that, you can see this actually opens, and all the stuff I care about is after the question mark, actually, in this case. So this is what Iconic is going to send as variables. So it's that authorization token. If I actually scroll to the end of it, you can see it's a comma-separated list of all the asset IDs I had collected. That all gets sent in the URL. So I'll be able to break down that URL because it'll be one big string. I'll split it off into an instance, and then I will have the collection ID or the saved search ID, and I will know what it is too, because you can see its asset IDs. That's the key, and then the value is a comma separated list of all the assets I had. So what I'll have is collection underscore ID. Well, let's show you rather than explain it. If I go to say this one and I run the exact same action, this is all the information that is going to get passed to our little URL handler script. So it's an auth token, which says kind of, you know, if I use my app ID from my user and pass that along with it, I now have authentication to make calls back to Iconik at that point. And then I also have the collection ID itself. So we're good there. And if that doesn't make sense, and so Ted's asking, yeah, so you're registering the URL from your local host and the custom action hits it over HTTP. No, so it's not using HTTP at all. That's the intriguing thing here. So when I make a custom action, and maybe it makes sense to, let's finish up what we were doing so this can be seen. So I've got my little collection report URL handler, right, that I've saved. And now that I've updated that URL handler bundle by rights, when I go to my desktop and run it this time, it will actually register it as a custom URL handler. And now I can go to Iconik and I can go to settings, custom actions, and I can make a new custom action. And I'm going to call it collection storage report. And the context is going to be on collections right now. And the type is going to be an open, and the URL, and this is where it gets interesting, is going to be Iconik collection handler : / you know, and I could put a random string here just if I really wanted to validate something. So I could put like a UUID or something. I'm just going to put local right now, /. And what that's going to do is open up my Apple script when I click it if everything works properly. And I'm just going to use the web right now for the app name because that's the tokens that's coming across. Hit create. Now, this may not work because I don't have the greatest success of doing this first try when I'm shooting from the hip, as you guys know that have watched this before. But if this worked now, if I go to a collection and where's my custom action? Settings, actions, collection storage report, on collection, open, web. Yep, that all looks good. Everything's happy. Maybe I gotta refresh for it to show up. There it goes. Okay, collection storage report. If I click this, okay, my URL handler is not registered right now because you can see it says I can't open this URL, but you can. Maybe it's. I don't know if this zooms in on. Actually zooming in on OBS. I think it might be. So you can see here that it's actually calling Iconik collection handler : / local and then passing all of those things. It's just saying my collection handler actually isn't registered yet. So I guess I got to do a little more reading on why that's not working. But it made the correct call to the right thing. Let's hop back here and actually finish reading this. Okay, that's all good. I should probably change that too. So let's open up our bundle again. Whoops. Cancel. Close. Don't need that anymore. This is inside home. I don't think it's going to let me browse it. Oh, it did. Look at that. Okay, cool. Okay, script editor. An ID is going to be Iconik collection port. Bundle identifier, then did this not save? Doesn't look like it actually saved my changes. It didn't save my changes. That might be why it didn't work. Because that's supposed to be in there like that. Should be collection handler. And this should be collection report. Save that. Save. Is it not letting me? Oh, you know what? It might not be letting me save. Double check this. I don't know if VS Code is actually smart enough to prompt me if I don't have permissions as a auth user. So, contents and plist. Just make sure. Yep. So it's there now, saved. Okay. Now if I run it again, it actually overwrite itself. I don't think it should. I'm going to close script editor for now just to rule out any goofiness. Normally, that's all it takes to register it. Double check that it didn't change itself again. Nope, it didn't. Okay. Try our command again. Ah! All right, my collection handler is still not working. What am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong here? And Ted asked if there will be a recording. Yeah, we always put the recordings on YouTube afterwards. So if you hit youtube.com/iconic_io, you'll see all the hackathons there if you want to go back and watch this stuff later. All right. So what did I do wrong here? Yeah. Let's look at this again. io.iconic. Fine. That is under the top level, right? Yeah, so that array is in the right place. That is called the right thing. It is the right thing. Rel scheme, all good. Maybe this shouldn't have spaces. Maybe that's why. Not entirely sure. It's not 100% documented here. Okay. Handler ID. Or it'll be local something. Yeah, that's. I don't care about that because that's what we'll get to later. Okay, so now that's all where it should be. Let's try this one more. Collection sort. I think that's what I called it. Collection handler. Oops. Handler / Mike question mark stuff that thing. Cool. Still not registering. Okay, let's do a little more Googling up. Okay, so this is exactly what I've done. The actual Apple script itself. So on open location, this URL. Yeah, that should just do it. That should be all it's. Let's try. Just make it in case I don't hear it. I don't think that's any different than what I just did, right? So that's what I've got. What I've got. It's all good. Okay, this is all Cocoa stuff, which doesn't matter. Just seeing if anybody's... I wonder if this stopped working in Big Sur. No, it didn't stop working in Big Sur, because I know that works. Why is this just not... Here. Save. Run application. Because it's corrupted. Ah, maybe I have a bad... Maybe my bundle is bad. Don't see anything wildly out of whack here, but... This keeps getting overwritten. That's the problem. I wonder if I have to... Do I have to use defaults to do this? I don't think so. But that's super strange. Because you can see all my changes are gone. As soon as I save this, I run it on application, corrupt. Super strange. Okay, let's just try from scratch here. New. What is it, on open URL? Oh. Play dial. Oh. Cool. On. That's why I didn't nest. Cool. All right. Let's try this again. Save. The desktop. Iconik. Selection. There we go. If I run this right now, nothing happens, but that's fine because there's no URL pass there. And I did I save that as an application bundle? I can't remember now. Up. Yes, I did. Okay. So it is an application bundle. I'm going to not open mail. Man, fingers are just bad today. Quit that. Go away. Right click. Show package content. Info.plist. That guy up. I'm going to try using Xcode. Maybe it is some sort of goofy protection thing that it doesn't like a raw text editor. Who knows? Of course, it takes 7 years to open Xcode. Background tune. Tunes for you guys in the background. Right about there. And bring down the volume a little bit in my room. All right, cool. All right, let's try this again. Open. Come on, open. What? Why can't you open? Oh, there it is. It's on my other screen, that's why. And it's gray and it blends in with everything. Okay, so inside here, I want to make a new... No, I don't want to split. Value type... Oh, there's a little plus. There's normally a plus, right? Yeah, here. Okay, so I want to add underneath this array. Okay. Oh, I need to call it something. What? Gotta paste. I don't remember what the heck it's called. All this crap. Here. Nope. That. Okay, so it's an array. Array has no name. How can I have no name? And underneath it is... No, these are not... This is not what I want. I see what I'm doing wrong. Okay. This is an array. And beneath that is dictionary. And that is CF bundle URL name. Wait, that's not right. How the heck do you use plist editor to make this stuff? You know, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be the learn from it teaching you. So I'm gonna save this to the desktop. Array.plist. And then I'm gonna go here and open that. See how it handles it. Array.plist. Okay. Alright, so this is how it looks. I wonder if I can copy that. Ah! What's going on? Why is my laptop all of a sudden so slow? Probably because I have Xcode open. Probably because Xcode's doing something behind the scenes that I have no desire to. Somehow decide to dock itself to my other. All right, copy that, and then let's go in here and move this, paste it. Did that work? That did not work at all. Drag it. Ooh, I can. Yeah, did that work? Yeah, there we go. Okay, change this to ISG section handler and port. Now we know that the actual plist is set up properly. If I try running it again, it doesn't come back as corrupted. If I hit save again, does it change anything? Doesn't appear to. All right. Empathize. Yeah, okay, here we go. Look at this. My CPU is going out crazy because of OBS. Really? It wasn't a few seconds ago. All right, whatever. I just realized, too, that I told everybody that I was recording this, and I'm not actually recording it. So I'm going to have to download the Twitch stream to actually put it back on YouTube. Whatever. Friday, guys. All right. Hop back over and hit Iconik again. Refresh that. No, did not work. Not working. Why are you not working? I don't understand. Maybe my entire idea to do this was ill-fated and we should give up and try something slightly different. I'm going to check one other thing because Big Sur is weird. I'm wondering if there's a security profile or something changed. Security and privacy. Sometimes it's policy related. Not barking about any policies. Alright, screw it. We're not going to do it with the GUI and a custom action right now. We're just going to get the actual logic going with the API, and then we'll come back to that if we got time later, because this is not fun or interesting. This is boring watching me screw up time and time again. Or maybe it's entertaining for you. I don't know. Okay. So let's close up some stuff we don't need to have open anymore. And then quit that for now. Quit that for now. And that for now. All right. Let's look at our design. So we're skipping that for right now. We're skipping that for right now. So we just got to write a Python script, and that Python script just needs to take or a function, at least inside that Python script, needs to take a collection ID as its input. So let's hop back over into VS Code, make a new project here, and go import requests, because we always use requests to talk to the Iconik API, and import argparse, because I'm making a command line tool now, and probably it for now. That's probably all I need. All right. And we'll just save this so that we have a place to run it from. So desktop and code. Inside the code folder, we'll make a new one called Iconik section report. Inside there, we will make app.py. Cool. All right. So first thing we need to do is create our command line arguments so that we can just get the collection. And frankly, a handful of other things too. We'll need an application token and a key so we can authenticate against the Iconik API. We've done this in past hackathons before, so I'm going to go grab a little bit of block of copy and paste from... actually, we'll use... which one did we do recently that used the command line heavily? Nope, those were all applications. Yeah, this guy. Perfect. So, being exceptionally lazy, I'm literally copying and pasting all my options from another app I wrote that talks to Iconik, pasting them in and getting rid of the crap I don't need. So, creates a collection report output file from content of a collection. All right. And we don't need proxy file. We don't need original file. App ID and token we need. Iconik host we need. Iconik ID field we don't need. We do need a collection ID that's not here. /c, and we'll call that collection ID, and destination is collection. And type is... Technically, right now we're just going to allow this to run on a single collection. If you want to run it on multiple, you'd have to run it multiple times. So, collection ID run report on, and then, and we don't need a debug mode for this, I don't think, because we're not doing any writing, we're only doing reading. Oh, and we're going to want one more argument here, which is going to be, I'm going to use -o, say output directory, and this is going to be output local path to store port. And what I'm planning on doing here is I don't want to I'm not going to give anybody the ability to name the report themselves. I'm actually going to use the date stamp and the collection ID as the name, and maybe we can get the collection title because we're gonna get some info on it anyway. And actually, that means I probably want import date time so that I can actually get the current time when we're running this thing. But that's all the options we need now to get this thing running. Now, I actually did something fun with a script that I wrote, and some of you guys may not be aware of this one. And maybe we'll use this library as well. So if you go to github/Iconik, there's this little Iconik CSV IO. And what I did is, for this particular one, is I built our little flags and everything like that, but I also supported using a config file, and I did that using a different library than argparse. So I actually used config argparse, which is not a built-in library in this case. But it allows me to use more or less the exact same arguments, but then I can build a config file next to it. You know what? I think we're going to get into more interesting things. We'll come back and add this later if we have time, if we get everything working. For now, we'll just do a lot of copying and pasting of tokens and app IDs. All right. So now we got everything we need to kind of run our app, and we're going to just do a print CLI args. Args, just to make sure everything works properly. And then get cd into that or that folder code and Iconik collection report, and I'm going to virtual env this directory, and I'm going to do a source bin activate this directory, and then I'm going to do a pip install requests in this directory because we don't have requests in the default macOS yet. Hopefully soon. I think it's actually in default Python that so now we got that, and by rights I should be able to do Python app and -a mic and -e something and -i, or actually we can leave -i blank because it's got a default -c 234 and -o /desk. And there we go. All of our stuff came out. So we know that our little bit of code's working. We got our command line arguments in. That's all good. So first thing we got to do is actually get information on the collection that gets passed. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do build a function that is def get collection contents. And we're just going to put this into a little bit easier to parse format so that when we're building our report, we can just loop through the contents that get created and spit them into a CSV file. And actually, that means we probably want to use import CSV as well. We'll use CSV as the output file format here. All right, so get collection contents, and we want that to be collection ID, because that's what we need to pass to it. R equals requests.get and collection ID. No, not collection ID. What am I doing? CLI args dot Iconik, or just host, right? Host plus /API API. Oops. What's our endpoint for getting collection? So app Iconik docs reference guide, and I believe it's under assets, memory serves. Actually, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to actually use a search function to do this. So if we go into search, and I'm going to pull a little logic that I have somewhere else for recursive looking through. Actually, let's go back to that GitHub page, because that script that I wrote earlier does the same thing. It's recursive somewhere in here. Let's find the search asset, collection assets. Okay. Cool. So this little block of code, and let me bring this over into VS Code so we can look at it a little bit easier. So what this actually does is it searches for all the assets in a collection, and this isn't what I want. I lied. This isn't recursive at all. That's only looks in one flat collection. Where's my recursive one? What the heck did I do with that? Hey, let me do a little searching around. It might actually be... Might be in a Google Cloud Console cloud function. And let's go to Cloud Functions and hope I haven't deleted it yet, so I don't have to do this over again. Crap. I think I got rid of it. Okay. Now I got to think about how I did that. Or I got to look at my code and see where I've written this before and look at all my little projects I've done and see if I can find one. Sometimes it's faster to look through the stuff you've done and figure it out than it is to actually rewrite code. Actually, it's always faster, I think. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay, none of those are helpful whatsoever. All right, we're going to have to... Oh, Ted actually made a recommendation a little while ago. Let's see if our URL handler actually worked by just doing it right in our browser. So it was collection handler //stuff/. Yeah, it didn't work. Not sure why. We'll come back to that later. All right. So, where were we? Where were we? Oh, that's right. I was going to look up actually what we talked about. This kind of fun new functionality, which is this ancestor collection thing, right? So, and there's a way, okay, so let's actually explain this. There is a way that I can force this to work on any current collection without too much issue. If I go into Iconik and I can I can kind of turn this on and turn this off, and it forces a full resync or a reindex of the collection. So if I go to my top level collection, or maybe want to go down, let's find one that's a little more nested here. So let's go to channels and here. So we've got, several sub collections inside this collection. What I'm going to do is go to access controls, and I'm going to add permissions just temporarily to propagate. I'm going to say, you know what? This odd city group's got read, write, and delete. Actually, I don't even need to do this temporarily. I'm going to actually add this permanently. Hit add, and then I can actually remove the explicit here. Fine. Actually, we'll do this. We'll remove the explicits from content. Move the permission. Okay, so what we've functionally done here, and this is new in Iconik, so you may not have seen this yet, but if you have a propagated ACL, what that says is if I place this on the top level, it's going to walk down through all of the collections and all the assets inside those collections and propagate down those permissions for anything that lives in that collection as long as it lives inside that collection. So if I remove this item from the collection, it should no longer maintain those propagated ACLs. And you can see here, it's inherited at this point, the ACL for this particular item. So if I remove it from the that collection that it is in, this inherited ACL will no longer work for that asset. But what we've also done is by adding that propagated asset, we can now use our ancestor search in the API because it's been reindexed. And again, this is probably not something you're going to have to worry about too much. But if you want to start, if you want to use this code yourself and you want to use it on stuff that doesn't have propagated permissions, you're going to want to at least apply a propagated permission, wait to make sure all the assets below it propagate, and then you can remove it. That will force the reindex of that collection, which will then mean that what we're about to do will work. And I've never done this before either. So, hey, who knows if this works the way I think it works. But what we're going to do is open up a new window for the docs. Hey, we got spam. We're we're doing well. I got some random spam Twitch follower that is asking me if I want to be famous. I think I already am famous, guys. Like, I've got 5 viewers right now watching me fumble through poor code. If that's not famous, I don't know what is, man. So HBF Tractor F097, we're good, bud. I don't need your product. But thanks for asking. All right. I always say you know you know you've made it when somebody either hates you or needs something from you, right? So Tractor 0097, he wants something from me. All right. Back to searching through APIs. Go to the reference guide, go to search, and we're going to go to the search API here. And I am going to grab the collection ID for this collection, just so I have it in my baseboard, because this is the one that we want to recurse through. And just to be sure, we know that there are 3 items in there, 2 in there, 18 in there, so we're at 20, 27. So we should get back 27 items, or 30 items, I guess, because we actually have collections in there as well that are come back. So if our call works properly here, we should have a count of 30. Obviously, if you had a much bigger collection, it wouldn't have been that fast to do the math on it. And then, let me go find the notes that I was provided earlier from someone that said I should do it this way. Was probably elsewhere enjoying a beer and not paying attention to my stupidity. All right, so search on, okay. So this is a search term, right? So inside of my value. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? This is the other thing is search strings. This is a pro tip if you're using the search API. It's really confusing to just come in here and know what you have to add and what you don't have to add. So what I normally do when I'm just trying to do a flat search is I hop in, go up to the root of Iconic, open up my search or my network tab, clear everything, and then I type like, and then what that'll do, obviously it's loading in a bunch of stuff here, but I only want the XHRs, right? So there's my search XHR, and if I scroll down a little bit and look at the request data, here is the actual search query that got posted. And the query itself is what we're going to use this new thing for. So I'm just going to copy this, pop over to the API reference. Actually, I'm going to make it look a little prettier first. So I'm going to paste it here, hit Command-Shift-P, make it pretty, and then copy it again and move over into the web. Paste it in. And I know that my query was Mike. Well, I don't want that to be the query. What I want the query to be is ancestor_collection. So if I go ancestor_collections, colon, and then my collection ID, which was this. If I do this, works properly. We got a 200. We got, let's see, ancestor collections is all of these. Let's see, results per page. Let's scroll down. We've got, yeah, we get quite a bit of stuff here. Let's see if our count was correct down at the bottom. Scrolled too far. Too much scrolling. Total 30. That's what we said, right? That's what we were supposed to get. 27 plus 3, which means there's 27 actual items in here, and then there's 3 collections. And there's 3 pages because our page count's 100. So we will have to loop through this search call if we're expecting more than 100 results. For a larger collection, you would. So we're going to have to do that. But all of that said, we got our search term that's now working properly. So we can copy and paste that little bad boy. Yeah, where is it? Here. And hop back over to VS Code and use our fancy new stuff here. And I'm going to say recursive search query equals this. And the only thing I need to change here is this to be plus our CLI args dot collection underscore ID. So we're passing that to the search, and then we can post this as our actual search term down below in our collection here. So we're going to do this API v1 search slash, I think that's it, right? Back in right there. API search v1 search. That backwards. API, capital A, API search v1 search. And I need to import JSON, I just realized. Did not do that yet. And data equals JSON dumps recursive search query And headers equal, well, we'll make some headers so we can reuse these. Which is going to be headers equal, copy and paste this too, because headers, no. Up at the top here, so. Nope. Sometimes being lazy is, always being lazy is not right, even though it's faster. Where the heck do I call out the headers? I thought I just did it right at the top of this stupid simple script that I wrote a year and a half ago. Clearly I didn't. What do we want to do? There it is. This is me being exceptionally lazy. Copying that. Close this now. Paste that there. So I don't have to worry about that. And this is actually a little different. This is CLI args dot app underscore ID and CLI args dot token. Okay. Cool. If r dot status code 100, meaning I think it's a 200. Yep, it's 200, which means that it came back good. For right now, I'm just going to print r.json. Actual JSON. r.json indent 4, so it's easy to actually read. Else print. Oops. Okay. Now let's hop back down here. And this guy. Go away. Go away. I don't care. Run this again. This time we need to add our app ID. Let me go make one. Close this. All right, so we go into our users. No, app keys. Application tokens. And I think I have one that we've been using for. Yeah, here, we'll use this one. Actually, I think those are used in actual apps. Let's just make a brand spanking new one I can kill later. Name, collection, port, app key. Oh, you know what? Actually, we're going to do something cool here. I'm going to show you guys how to use usernames and passwords to auth instead of actually using app keys and tokens. So if you have a function, a little script that you want to run, then you can run it in the context of the actual user making the call. And I did that in the little CSV script. So I'm going to open that CSV script again. VS Code. Open research. There. Where is it? Oh, not here. The real simple function I wrote. Did this. CSV file. I think it's called something around headers. Yeah, there's that. So search for auth method so I can find the function so we can copy it. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So here's what we do, right? So if there's no app ID or token specified in the CLI, right, what we can do is actually use the simple login endpoint. And what we do is just put in the app name, email, and password in this case in our post to that. And what we'll get back is a 201. And in the response of that, we will get an app ID and a token that will time out shortly, but will work fine for the purpose of doing this. So what I can actually do is grab this whole little block here. Actually, I think this whole entire chunk here we can really use, right? So basically saying if there isn't an app ID or a token in the CLI, we're going to set the auth method to simple. Otherwise, we're going to set it to API. And then if it is simple, we're going to prompt the user for their username and password to run our command. I'm literally just going to copy and paste this from my other script. Put it right up at the top here. Make sure my args are called the same thing, right? It is app ID and it is... it's token. Okay. Right, CLI args dot token. Yes. In theory, if I save this and run this again, and we put in our collection ID of whatever the heck it was. There it is. And nothing else. It prompts me for my username. So put it in. Oh, there's a... Okay, I forgot to import the get pass. So get pass is super simple. All it does is allows you to obscure password inputs from the command line. And if you see, it's actually here, right? So I just, for username, I take the input so you can see it. But password, I use the get pass method. And you'll see what that does. When I run this from the command line now again, go like, and then I put in my password. I'm typing it in and it's not actually showing up on screen. And then it exited cleanly. I never called my function here, so we're just going to do get collection contents and CLI args dot collection ID. Save, run again. Oops. Okay. So obviously I did something wrong here. But it ran. We just didn't get a 200 back. So let's instead do this. Print. Well, we'll do the same thing. Doesn't really matter. Just so we can see what we're getting. Okay, JSON. JSON decoder got nothing back. Headers are headers. Well, let's just print this. Let's just print r.text, which is the full output of whatever comes back. Add requests. Client has malformed deal. Okay. Huh. Oh. I tried to do a get. That's supposed to be post. I tried to send data as a post to a get. That would probably explain why the server had no idea what I was trying to do. Let's try this again. FID header is required. Am I not? Ah, here. Because I call this token. Am I passing that after my headers? Yes, I am. Okay. So to explain why that error happened, I have this big like little logic block up here that lets me log in from the command line, and then I use the CLI args if I don't get anything else, but I'm passing these things to the wrong variable that I was using elsewhere. And then my headers down here should not be CLI args anymore. They should be just the args, because I'm passing the CLI arguments as the values if they're applied on the CLI. If not, I get them from the response of my status code. So that all makes sense. This is what happens when you copy and paste big blocks of code. All right. Look at that. Okay, so now we got our response back. We're all good there. So let's analyze that output just a little bit. Pop it into a fresh text editor window so we can kind of take a look at what we're getting back from our search results so that we can know how to loop through all this data. Actually, it doesn't look like this is... Let me do that. VS Code does not have enough backflow, but this does. So copy all this. Okay. Nothing like having metal while you're scrolling through JSON. Just, you know. Okay. Copy this. Go over to VS Code. All right, so let's collapse some of this so we can analyze it better. Right. So we got objects, and that should be 90% of it. Okay, cool. So here's all the search criteria document, everything like that. So inside this objects is where all of the stuff that actually come back is. We're going to have to look and see if we have more than one page, right? And I didn't set the parameter to be larger. What I might do is set the parameter to be 100, just so that, because for the case that we're looking for, we don't need to make, 10 calls for every 100 back. Let's get a full 100 back right at the get-go so that we don't have to go through multiple pages, but we should still recurse this and make it work properly. So what I'm going to do is let's take a look at the actual objects themselves. Right, so we can see there are some file paths here. We actually get the size here. This is kind of awesome, right, in the index, so we can start adding that up. What we should do is also build an index of storages, because at the end we're going to need to go look up all those storages so we have names of what they were. Because in this case, you can see that there's only one file path for the original and one file path for the proxy. But maybe I have multiple file paths. Maybe it lives on 3 different storages, and I'm going to want to get all of that back. And my goal is to get as much of this back from the initial search query as possible, so I don't have to actually go back and loop through multiple API calls, but that may not be possible. So we'll see what information we can get back from the search API. And actually, a little bit of that's down at the bottom, too, right? So we have... the search criteria document does tell us all the criteria and then all the fields that come back. So if there's fields that are missing in here, I might be able to add those. What I can't necessarily get is all the storage information, all the format information. So we might still have to loop through that. All right, back up at the top here. We get the file count, and then do we actually get the... We get the original name, but we don't actually... Okay, we get the format ID. So we can look up the formats. We are going to have to loop through this and see what formats are so we can ignore proxies. Or maybe we'll split out proxies as well. Maybe that makes a lot of sense to do too. Okay, so let's go back to our design doc here a little bit. So in this case, we've got our loop now. And what we're going to need to do... Man. Oh, my juice. Safari is sucking up 120% of my... Let's close some windows here. Maybe it's Google's Cloud Console. We don't need 10 windows open. We got the stuff copy and pasted. Let's cover a little bit of our CPU there. On Google Chrome. Oh, well, that's where I'm talking to you. I kind of got to leave Chrome open. All right. So in this loop, we will have to build functions to look up format, look up storage, because those are the 2 things we care about, and then basically build a list of all the storages we find, and then at the very end we'll give them all names, maybe look through our list one last time to name them all in the actual storage report. So that we know what we're looking at here. Okay, back to VS Code. We don't really care about, we're aggregating everything. We do have the size here automatically, so we're good on all that. We don't really care about, oh, this is nice. It does have the formats here. So each format. Cool. So I can loop through this object, this formats object. Let's see, does this give, yeah, this gives me the size and it gives me the format ID. I don't care, actually it gives me the name right here. Perfect. So it gives me the size, it gives me the name. Does it give me the length? It does not. So maybe I'll have to add that in my query. Let's try that. Let's try adding in figuring out what the actual length attribute is, and I think I already have a field that pulls that from metadata. So oh no, I just want an asset. Go to an asset. Go to metadata. I think I got a view that has metadata. What is happening? Is my internet going down? Oh yeah, my internet's crap right now. So I wonder if you guys can even see me. Thank you, Comcast, for being awful. This is fantastic. All right. So technical data. Yeah, so duration we do get. So let's go look at what the inherited field is there. Metadata, views, technical data, and duration. Which, what did I call that? Just called duration. Okay. Cool. So let's fields. Duration, and then look at what I inherit that from. It's called duration. That should work. Okay. So in my call here, I'm a little worried that my upstream is 59 kilobytes right now. We might be off. Reload this. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see if it. Let's see if it's back online. If anybody's watching the chat and things dropped out, let me know. I obviously can't fix the quality of my internet connection. I wish I could, but I can't. Okay. So if we go back to this and we look at our search query, you can see in here we've got search fields, but we can also pull, I believe we can pull more on the return of that, right? So look down at the way bottom here. Right, search field. So what I want is metadata.duration is what I'm actually going to add in there because, oh, it is there. Well, that's strange. Why did it not come out for those assets? It is there. Ah, it's at the object level. All right, cool. Awesome. So each object is going to give me back the duration in milliseconds. So that's one of the things we want to store. So make a new here. Duration milliseconds equals time. Top object. And then top left object. Formats. Size. Name. And storage. Those are the things we need. Okay. That's all we should need now, actually. And, okay, so let's hop back in and build our loop. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually, is we got to recurse. We got to make sure our recursion is working for the pages. So this is like a scroll index for our search when we have more than 100 assets per page or more than 10, whatever our parameters are. So I'm going to make a new list. I'm just going to call it all objects. And it's just going to be an empty list. And then if we get back a success, I am going to say all objects equals all objects. Actually, I can just do an append, right? I append a list to a list. I think I got to add them. All objects plus equals all objects plus r.json objects. And what I'm doing there essentially is I'm going to make this call, this request call, and then I'm going to append it to a separate list. And then I'm going to say while r.json, let's actually see what it is. It's down towards the bottom, right? I guess we can probably no, this one. We just got to basically figure out when we're done looping through these, and maybe we can just do it in actually a timed loop because we know exactly how many there are up at the top. I don't know what I'm saying here. So you can see we've got our next URL, last URL for the search results, but I also know how many actual pages there are. So I know I'm on page 1, page 3. So I can just say for n in pages, our JSON pages, and then stop there. I don't know if that made sense to anybody, but all right. So we're gonna go to here. Split this off to the right, actually. Get full screen. So if our JSON, all right, let's see. For a in our on pages, is that the right? I don't think that's right. I can never remember how to do a loop in Python with a limit of recursion. So Python for loop n times in range. Okay, that's what it is. So for n in range, r.json. Oh, int r.json age. Yes. Comma r.json int r.json ages. Right, so that should be my for loop. More of those. One more of those. There. And then it's just this all over again. Blocked over one time. So in theory, that should... Oh, but I have to iterate the page, right? I have to do this. Oh, there's a better way to do this, actually. That's not this. If I just do this while r.json last URL not equal next URL. No, that doesn't work either. God, why am I slow today? Maybe I need to go take a break for a few. This shouldn't be rocket science here for me to build a recursive loop, but I am just having mental strain today. I've probably done this before somewhere else. Let me go see if I can steal my logic. In fact, I know I've done this before somewhere. All right. Oh, here we go. Here's the smart way to do it. Pop this over on. Open. If I open in a new. Split it. I just want to. Oh. Over there for now. Yes. Okay. So here's the search, and this would work from search assets too. Let's actually steal it right from there. So this little block here, right? So if our return code is good, all objects equals this. You can see I'm actually kind of doing the exact same thing here, but I'm going to run the call again. And we're going to make one change here. You can see there's this parameters. There's a scroll. I've got to make sure that I'm using a scroll ID. Okay. Okay. Now I remember this. So for those of you guys not familiar with a scroll API, what happens with a scroll API is that when you do a search on something that's paginated, or any sort of document that's paginated where it's going to bring back multiple results in a row, there's this opportunity to turn on this scroll. And then when you pass the next call, you're going to get a scroll ID back from you if you have this parameter enabled true, and you're going to get a scroll ID back. And then you can pass that scroll ID in the next query, and it knows where you are in your search results. So if you have 20 pages or 1 page or 1,000 pages, it just knows where you are because it does all the work for you. And then you can figure out how to exit your loop by just saying, hey, when there's nothing left in the search results, I'm done, right? So this logic right here, this entire logic tree right here is all we need. So we can say, right, let's actually just copy this whole block. So when we get a successful result back, and I'm going to change this to results because that's what I called it in the other one, right? So you, and actually I don't even need to make a new list because we're setting it right when we get we're running the call first. We have that back. So I say we get the results back. Give me all the objects, put it into results, and then if the length of the object, so the amount of actual results returned, is greater than 0, run the call again. And the important part here is you can see in the params, we've got the scroll ID set to true, or scroll set to true, and the scroll ID that gets passed in the subsequent calls is the scroll ID that I get back from my first call. And in my very first call, the only other thing I got to do is make sure that scroll true is enabled, which I guess I didn't do. Oh, because I didn't copy and paste that part. Yeah, so you can see up here, there's this params per page scroll true. And I'm actually, because I don't need to download anything as well, this is another, you can say generate signed URLs false. That means that since I'm not grabbing keyframes or thumbnails in this particular example, I can run my search that much faster because it doesn't have to go through and generate all those. And I don't need to put this into save search history either. So I'm going to actually grab this whole parameters block and use that in my initial call as well. I'll just say comma, paste that. All right. So now we return our results. Otherwise, we return false, just so we know what's going on there. And then we will say everything equals that, and then print length of everything. So by rights, when I run this, it should bring back 30. And then what we can do just to test this, because we know there's 30 items total that come back, I can go in here and set this down to 3 or 4, and I should still get 30 back when I run it. So let's run it. Oh. That with that. More non-standard nomenclature that I'm using across things. Okay, do this again. Oh, and search doc is not called search doc. It is called, what did I call it? Recursive search query. One last try. What? Oh, that's why. Well, no, I mean length of everything, because everything's not a list. It's an everything. Objects. Maybe that's the problem. I don't think so, though. What was it telling me? Expected value on that, which was on line 84, so... maybe... Oh, yeah, results equals RJSON objects. I set it there. And there's that. Okay, maybe it was just... Try it one more time. And, of course, if I type my password wrong, nothing works. We know our authentication is working. What the heck? Ah, I see. I see my problem. More copy and paste stupidity. Oh, it is a list. I'm stupid. I am passing a list, so there's no key in the list. Everything is a list. What the heck am I doing? What's... I'm just typing random crap. Okay, so we got back 30 there. Now, which is... that was going to bring back one page because there's only 30 items. Now I'm going to change it to only 5 per page. And if I run it again and I get back 30, then my loop is working for recursion. So... There we go. You see, it took a lot longer to run that time because it had to run 6 calls instead of 1 call, but it still brought it back, and we're good to go. So I'm going to bump this back up to 150 because that's going to be an efficient way to do it. And now we've got, returning out of this, all of the results from our search of everything we need. Cool, right? So first thing we want to do is something pretty simple here. We want to say if everything, right? And the reason I say if everything... and maybe we should call this, you know, all or collection items. Maybe I don't want to call it everything. That's a little too generic. So if collection items, and the reason I'm saying if collection items, because my little function up here that I'm doing, it returns false if something goes wonky in this world, and then that way we can check if if collection items, if it does return false, this statement will fail, and we can do an else statement that says something went wrong, and recurse our way up for fixing it. All right, so if collection items for this item in collection items. I think we're going to build a new dictionary here too, or a new list, and then we're going to put dicts into that list. So I'm going to say item data equals an empty list. And then I'm going to say item data append, and then I'm going to put a dict in here, which is going to be, what did we say? I made notes on this, and I think I can close this guy now. Slide that one out over a little. Get some more room to work with. Where did I put that? I have too many untitles open. No. 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 Really? Oh, there it is. Okay. So duration milliseconds. So back over here. So length. And that is going to be equal to this item, milliseconds. And then item data. Oh, actually, predict. So I want to do. Then I want to do format type. Going to be. Oh no, we're going to want to do that in a loop, I think. Actually, let me think about this. Let's think about this for a second. Actually, while we're thinking about this for a second, let's take a quick water break. Quick brain break, and be back in 5 minutes or so, because we're getting there. I want to map out how we want our actual output file to work first before we start worrying about what data sets we're putting things in. So, all right, do something. Working all that. You guys have no idea what I'm doing. All right, that's going. Let's see if the version 2.0 multi-dog cam works while I am... Okay, we got one dog. It's a double dog cam with one dog. So there's another dog somewhere in my house. But I'm going to go find the other dog and grab some water, and I will be back in a couple of minutes. So hang out, take a break, we'll be right back. All right, I am back. I have found the other dog, as you can see live on camera. And we are ready to dive back into figuring out how we want our actual report to look. I kind of thought about this beforehand, but I didn't really actually map it out, so not 100% sure I've made the right choices. Kick back over. Talk over. We'll have dog cam live too. Oh. I'm not entirely sure why all of my webcam views got tiny on me. Okay. All right, so let's take a second to break back out and figure out what we want our report to actually look like. Close this for now, and just I'm guessing, I'm thinking we should make it a CSV file, but do we do, so we have a collection at the top, which would maybe be the first column, which is going to be the same for everything, right? So maybe we don't need that. Maybe that's just at the very first column with nothing else. And then we have, total asset count in another, right underneath it, collection. Okay, collection. Maybe a CSV is not the best way to do this. Maybe it can just be a text file or something. We have total asset count. We have total file size, and then we have total format count. I don't know, because we have the possibility, or do we? Maybe we want to do this. Maybe we want to do total asset count, but then we want to have, items of format type X. Autocomplete's great, except for when you're just doing raw text. Ugh. Items of format type Y, that sort of thing, underneath, and then total file size for everything. Or do we want to do total file size of formats X, total file size Y? And then we got total size and then we'd have total length, right? And then maybe total image count and total video count, total audio count, total other count. That just seems good. I think we can get all that out. So I think we'll just do this in a just in a raw text file. I don't think we need to make it a CSV. I don't think so. All right, and it says my stream is unstable again. Thank you again, Comcast. You're a peach. All right, back to the code. So the length's pretty easy. Now what we do need to do is for format in this item formats, we need to start adding to our format count. Or format types. The easiest way to do this. Oh, I think I know I think I know how I want to do this. So let's make a new dict called format count. It's just going to be an empty dictionary. And then what we'll do is for every item, we will say format count. And then we will say this item formats name, and then it will be, and then the actual data that goes in there will be Man, this is a little confusing. So what I'm going to do is basically use the variable that comes out of the format name as the key, and then I'm going to increment up the value by 1, but that means I have to, inside my dict here, look up the previous value and add it, right? So here's the format name, and then the value is going to be, I have to do a try statement here, actually, because this will puke if, so I have to check and see if the key is set yet, because if the key is not set yet, I'll have to set it to 1. If the key is set, then I can do 1. So let's see how that works. I can't remember how you check if a key is set in Python. So, check if key set in dict Python. If key in dict keys. Is that right? No. If key in... Okay. So what I'll do here for formats and formats, if this item formats name in format count, that's just basically saying we've seen it before, then I want it to be format count. This is so weird. Format. I want it to be this. This item formats name. That +1. God, I feel like that's not going to work, but I think that's syntactically correct. But I don't know. All right. And then if it doesn't exist already, we're going to say else. Format count. This item, blah, 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 blah. :1. Set it to 1. Oh, no, equals 1. That's why. Ugh. Okay. I caught myself before I did anything else stupid there. Equals 1, and it's not colon here. It will be that equals format count. This item formats value of that +1. Okay. That should work. That is giving me the count of all total formats on the item, or on the collection. So that's going to loop through and get that. And which is a completely different dict up there. That's fine. We're getting our total length. Oh, yeah, item data length. This item. Ooh, okay. Maybe we just add it right now. Maybe it's easier to do that. So we'll just make it a variable instead of a list. Right, so total length 0, and then total length equals total length plus this. All right. Let's just see what happens here. We don't have all the info, but let's say print total length and print format count. Oh, I gotta turn these. Yeah, these are coming back from a JSON, so these have got to be float. And this has got to be. No, that's already in it. This item. That's in it. Okay. That should be fun. Try this again. Okay. List indices must be integers, slicers, not string. But it's not a list. This item format's name. Let's just do this. Whoops. Yeah. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Format's a reserved word. This format. Okay, did something wrong. I got that. It is name. Okay, that's fine. So if this item... Oh, no, not this item. This format name. That's why. Okay, what did I do wrong this time? Line 100 format code. Oh. Okay, name in format. And then there we go. Look at that. Okay. Well, I still got something wrong. E error duration milliseconds. Oh, that's interesting. But do not all my items have a duration in milliseconds? That would be super annoying. Oh, I guess they wouldn't all have it, right? Because there's going to be items that are collections. Well, I gotta... Okay, so I gotta check out what the object type is as part of this. Right, we got formats, got collections, keyframes, data... So I gotta look at the object type to see if it's an asset first. And then yeah. Well, yeah, because if it's an asset, it doesn't always have a duration. I guess I don't really need to check. It's if it is media, it's gonna have a direct duration. So all I just gotta do is wrap that in a try statement. Because if it doesn't, it's just going to skip it, right? So try that. Except pass. Basically means do nothing. Or Oh. If formats in this item, because obviously collections are not going to have formats, so we don't need to add that stuff in, which is why it ran into a problem when it ran into something that didn't have formats. All right, so cool. We have 27 originals. We have 17 of those that have Premiere Pro proxies. Our total length is 56 bajillion milliseconds. So we are getting places here. We have now successfully got accounts of all of our different formats. We should probably make a collection count too. So if we should make an asset count and a collection count as well. So total length, let's see, asset count equals 0 and collection count equals 0. Cool. For this item is okay. If this item and was it type, I think? Object type, right? Let me drag this over. Let me drag it over. Object type. This item object type equals assets. Asset count. Well, I'll just plus equals 1. Plus equals 1. Else this item object type collections collection count 1. Okay. Print asset count. Print collection count. Getting there. We're getting there. Go. Jeez, man, my muscle memory's shot. Can't even type my own password anymore. Cool. So 27, that is all good. We're getting correct information about everything. The last thing to do is size. All right. So we got to figure out how to get the size out. And then we're pretty much just formatting our output so that it looks pretty. All right. So let's. Hilarious. I've got the dog cam on. Either dog is laying in either bed. They're both laying just out of cam. Oh no, I guess there's one. Okay, it's working. It's worth it. We've made the entertainment level that much higher here, just because we've got dogs. Yep. All right. So we've got. Let's see. So we want to get our size, right? Now, the size is actually going to be by format in this case. So what we're going to have to do is also build a formats into the format count section. We're also going to want to add a format size option, right? So what I'm going to do, if this format's in it, I'm going to say format count this format name plus underscore duration is equal to. Oh, we don't know. It's not, duration's not at the format level. It's up at the top level. So all we just got to do is or not duration, size. Yeah, size is. Okay. Size is at the format level. We're not talking about duration. We're talking about size. So I got to just add the sizes together. And who? We want to sort that by storage too? Probably. That'd probably be useful information, right? So when we're getting that info back, we know if it's on a storage. So we want to do a very similar thing here. We're going to say for each format. So when we're looping through these formats, let's make this bigger again so see it, and go take a look at our formats. So inside formats, we have the format types that are showing up, right? ProRes, Premiere Proxy, whatever here. And then we've got inside the metadata, we have got the size here, and we've got the storage ID. So what we're going to want to do is make a key for each storage, but not necessarily care about the format type in that case, because we're not really concerned with how much ProRes proxy or Premiere Pro proxies we've got. We're more concerned with how much total storage is being taken up on the actual storages themselves by these various different objects in this collection. So what we'll do is inside the Formats tab for each one, we're going to do the same kind of logic here, but what we're going to check is see for the format, it should have the storage ID in the format somewhere. Or is that in the files section? It might be in the files section, not the format section that comes back. Let's collapse that and look at... Wait. So it's easy to see where I am. So this is our first object here. So we look and we see files. Cool. And files, yeah, gives us... Yeah, so we're going to have to loop through files. Files also give us the size, but they also give us the storage ID. And so we can say, we can make an index of all the storage IDs and just keep adding up the size for them. And at the end, we'll make one quick loop call, look through all the storage IDs, and get their actual names. That should go fast. So, okay. So slide this guy back over. And say if files in this item. So we're basically checking to make sure that that files key even exists. Or this file in this item files. We'll look through each one of them. And then we're going to actually go up here and say storage aggregate. That, the variable we'll use for putting this all together. No, we don't need to print. Get rid of that. So we're going to say if storage aggregate oh no, this file storage ID in this, wait, yeah, this file storage ID is in storage aggregate. Then we say storage aggregate, this file storage ID is equal to this file size plus this plus storage aggregate float of this. Gotta be a float. Plus storage aggregate. This file storage ID. Yeah, that. Okay. Cool. That should do that. Else. Is actually just this. No addition, because we just got to set it the first time. Otherwise, it won't let us add. Okay, that should work now. Let's print. Try running this again. Aggregate not defined. It's not. Spell it wrong. What line is it telling me that's 109? Yep, I spelled it wrong somehow. Ah, aggregate. Ah, that's why. Spelled it wrong originally. Oh, the question is, should I fix my poor spelling? Yeah, let's fix it. There. With storage. Aggregate, not aggregate. Replace all. Done. Right, so for the various different storages, we can see all of the amounts of data that are in each one of them. We got that. We got the amount of formats. We have the amount of assets. We have the amount of collections, and we have the total duration that is coming out of that. Now, I guess if we want to look at whether they're videos, audio, images, or other, we just have to look into... I think that lives in the format side of things. Formats. How do we determine that? I can't even... Internet media type. We'll just skip that for now because we've been at this for a little over 2 hours and we might want to do some other fun stuff here. Oh, media type. There we go. We can use that media type. Find media type. Audio and type. Find other than video. I kind of feel like I'm just looking at things. Well, video. Where are my images? How do we determine images? Okay, let's see what is the name of one of the images. That way we can take a look in our results. Projects? No, channels. Here's some images. Quick search. That. Oh. Oh. Oh, because it's probably on the second page. Damn it. So let's do this incredibly. The easier way to do this. How can I be lazy and get all the different media types out? I guess I can just build a list of media types, right? So, media types list. And if media type object level, file level. Yeah, it's at the top level. So media type. Type in. Types append. Run this again. That should just give us a list of all of our media types. Did I print it back out? I didn't print it back out, so I didn't actually see it. Got it. Print. Run again. I just realized too that music's still kicking. Can everybody out there in Twitch land actually hear me still? Because if you can't, that's okay. I can turn it down. Okay, so image, audio. Okay, let's do one other thing here. Let's take a document that is a known null and throw it into that collection so that we can see what happens. So we'll say other, add a new collection, and then in the other collection, I'm gonna just find something on my desktop that is not media. Throw in there. Oh, crap. Here we go. A .x file. That should properly go. Alright. Upload. And actually, while that's finishing uploading, I'm going to make this easier to read, so I'm going to do set. And that just grabs all the unique items out of there, so I don't have to read through and see which ones there are. This. Okay. So zip media image file. Okay. Zip, but it's not a zip file, is it? A .x file. I wonder if we call everything a zip file. Let's grab something else. Let's make an actual, like, full-on, completely dumb file. See what Iconik calls a really dumb file. So, ed equals if equals /dev 0 of equals desktop garbage dot file block size equals 1 megabyte count equals 5 and 24 kilobytes. Really? Does it have to be a capital K? Garbage file created, garbage file uploading. All right, all done. Back to code here. So it's unknown. All right. I think we can just say video, audio, and image, and then if it's not one of those three, we'll just group all that into something else, right? So we can say if, let's say, get rid of that, and we don't need this anymore because now we know those outputs are. That was just to tell us. All right, so we're going to say media or let's see, video count equals 0, audio count equals 0, image count equals 0, and other equals 0. Okay. And then we're just going to build a quick little nest statement here. It says if media type, crap, I already deleted it. I already had like what I wanted to do. Type in this item. If this item media type equals video, video count plus equals 1. And if this item type audio count plus equals 1, and image, right? It was, yeah, image count plus equals 1, and last but not least, the catch-all, other plus equals 1. All right. And now we should have all the counts of all the various different types as well in our information up here. Last thing we got to do is do some formatting. I think we have all our info spitting out, so let's print all these, right? Print. Save, run this. Name media types is not defined. Oh, because, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Because that was just for learning. All right. Yeah. Cool. So look at that. I think we got everything we need now. So we've got all the different keys. We've got the total length of all of the video and audio assets, because that's going to be aggregate there. I mean, I guess we could, if we really wanted to, split video and audio lengths separate. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's a worthwhile endeavor at this point. All right. Too many windows open. Too many windows. All right. We know that's all working. We've got our... Now it's just really formatting our output and making sure this stuff all works, right? Let's make it prettier. Just going to put this in a block. And you know what? Let's write a couple of functions to make these things prettier. I bet you there's some sort of fancy formatting something or other that I could do here to make life easier with some functionality I don't understand inside the world of Python, but I'm going to just write some functions. So say def convert millisecond to human, and then input time, and actually I bet you there is a function to do this. I don't know why I'm going to try to write this. That seems not smart. So convert milliseconds to human. Oh, Python. Gotta be an easy way to do this with strf to time or something like that. Okay. Yeah, here we go. This is the magic that we want, is the formatting. Obviously this part's pretty easy. Steal that code, hop over to studio. Ugh. Okay. And then what we can do is say total time is... Actually, you know what? Let's just return it as a string. I don't need them independent, right? So I can return f-string. You guys haven't used f-strings. This is Python 3 required, but it allows you to format info into well, it allows you to put variables really easily into strings when you're formatting them. So in this case, I can do just hours, colon, minutes, colon, seconds, right? Do we want to do it that way, though? Or do we want to actually say days, minutes, hours? I mean, there's going to be days in this environment, right? So, and days is going to be hours divided by 24 again. Well, let's say hours. Seconds is that. A millisecond times 60 is... Wait. Is 1,000th of a second. So if we times it by 1,000, that's seconds, times 60 is minutes, times 60 is hours, times 24 is days. Okay. I think that's right. I think that's right. Yeah. Cool. Oops. Forgot. Wrap it properly. I don't know how to spell anything. Oh. I would assume if I do, let's see, that's a remainder divide, right? So if I do a remainder divide by 1, that should go to 0. Nope, that didn't. Okay, what am I doing wrong? This is equal to the amount of hours, but it says 15.75 hours, 44 minutes, and 53 seconds of total time. But I don't like the way that's formatted. I just don't like the way that's formatted. I think that reads ugly. I want to make it prettier. Almost feel like I want to make it I don't know. Friday afternoon, man. Let's let's look at this logic. Look at the function up here, which is the convert. So it says milliseconds over 1,000 divided by 60 equals seconds. Let's total over 1,000, which is times? No, that would be times 60. Okay. Why is it? I don't even know what. I don't remember what that operator is. What does that mean? I'm not a programmer. Tell it to me in English. Find it again. Here we go. Modulo. Okay. I haven't taken math for a long time. What's a modulo? That doesn't help me at all. You want to feel dumb? Go back to things you were supposed to learn in like middle school math and can't remember. Oh man. I think these are supposed to be multiples, and then I can just use string formatting to get this going properly. That still doesn't seem right. Right? So that's total hours. Total minutes. So it's 45 minutes. Maybe this is 365. Am I insane here? I don't know. I'm literally just throwing things at a wall right now. No, I don't understand that. So I don't understand why. I don't understand why. Fine. All right, we'll come back to that. We'll make things prettier. So the other thing we can do with f-strings, though, is we can automatically round a little bit. So let me open up another. I don't think we actually need to get any data. We're all in the formatting zone now, so we're just gonna close that for now. And we're gonna go to a little weird project that I've got. I can copy and paste content up. So you can see right here, this little colon and then this little thing against anything. That's going to be a 2 decimal place auto round of whatever that number is. So I can go in here and put this here. Or sorry, inside the braces. Right? I think it's inside the braces, not outside. I just started using F strings recently, so it's kind of new. Yeah, it's inside the braces. There. Cool. And now if I do this, it should make all these prettier to look at. Yeah. So, you guys even see that? I don't know if you can. Let's put this up a little. I got the camera in the way. So you can see now it's trimmed things down to be a little bit prettier. All right. Let's try running this on a bigger collection and see how fast it runs and how long it takes. Back into Iconik, and let's find something that's got a little bit more length to it. How much stuff's in here? 21. Nah, we'll go someplace bigger. Storage gateways and projects. This has got a bunch of stuff in it. Let's grab this tree, run it on something a little bit bigger, and see what kind of results we get. Also, I think I want to make it print a few more things first before I run it here. And we're going to say assets. Didn't need the second one. And print. Total collection count. Items. Audio. Let's quiet. Now, cool. Run this. Grinds away, so I don't think that is even close to correct. So I've got something goofy going on here, because I'm pretty sure I pointed at this collection. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I haven't re-indexed that asset yet with everything I talked about just over 2 hours ago. I haven't actually done to that collection yet, but I believe I have on this one. Yeah, so this has got some propagated ACLs, which means that work on this one. So try it here and see what kind of result. Paste, run. Look at that. So 3 total hours, 3.84 minutes, 50 seconds of total contact, 164 assets, 30 collections, 55 videos, 88 audio. There we go. We're getting our stuff. Last thing to do is count up or do the report of the format counts and the actual amount of data in there. So let's say, okay, we've got our storage aggregate that we're going to have to... we got to look through each of the storages, right? So we have to do, for each key in there, we got to loop through this guy. Let's just print it out so you guys can see it. So print storage. And actually, we will print our other dict 2, which is our format count. Gotta format these guys so that they look pretty. And then we're pretty much done. God. All right, we got all our assets. Now we've got a bunch of different keys, right, in here. And what we have to do is basically loop through all the keys in the dict, and then look up the names of those storages, and then build another nice little visible list of all that sort of stuff. We also want to add all those numbers up as well, so we just can see absolute total amount of assets in there. And then we just want to break this guy up into something a little bit more visible. So again, we want to loop through all the keys and do that. So we got one more function left to do, which is to look up all of the... We'll loop through... We gotta loop through these, get that sort of stuff. So, but I think this is relatively easy. I have not done this in a while. Loop through keys. Iterate through a Python dictionary. Scroll down to the... Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yes, I understand all that. Alright, how to iterate through the 4-key indict. Okay. So here we go. This should be pretty easy. So 4-key in storage aggregate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that and then we're going to do a quick get on each of those storages so that we can get the name. We're going to append it all, and then we're going to build a little dict that we can use to look up when we... maybe we can just do it right now, right? We can probably do it in this loop. Make the call. Because we only... Yeah, let's do it that way. Okay. So we're going to do a few things here. So total storage equals 0 to start. And then we're going to say R equals request Oh, we got to put this outside the for loop. Otherwise, we would just overwrite it every time. R equals requests dot get CLI args dot host plus slash API files run storage is plus E. I think that works. Headers. If our status code equals 200, print r.json. What the heck do we call it? Let's look at it. Doc. And reference guide, files. Storage. Okay, storage. Nope, not there. There we go. Not post, get. Get storage ID. Bingo. Try it out. Get a storage ID. Copy it. Paste it. Probably just name. Yep, it's name. Name. We don't need to print it. That. Actually, how do we do this? What's these? Oh, I have to do like a double lookup because I'm not storing this in like a smarter way of. I don't have them in a list. I just have them in a flat dict, probably. All right. I'm going for another hour or so. I'm going to take another quick break, then we're going to come back to this. Take over to dog cam for a little bit. And I will be back in a few minutes. Not too long. I want to take a quick break. All right, I am back, as are the dogs. Time to finish this thing up. Let's it's 3 o'clock on a Friday. We're gonna finish this thing up. So back over. We really don't have too much left to do, right? We just gotta build our little aggregation here for our storage amounts. And I think, you know what I'm going to do here? Say, we're going to make... Just going to make a new dick. So, and we're going to say, just so we can reference things pretty quickly. So storage name, oops, key is equal to name, right? So we're just throwing that into there. Storage name key, or no, storage lookup key is equal to name. Storage. Yeah, it's called storage names. That's easier. Names. That's really what it is. Okay. To do that, that loops through real quick, gets all of those. And then what we're going to do is convert those bytes into gigabytes. And maybe we want to take a look at that and see if it's over a certain amount, we'll actually convert it into terabytes. Because it's going to be kind of hard to read gigabytes if you have 100 terabytes. So we know everything's in bytes right now. We're going to say for key in storage aggregate. Actually, we're already in that loop, right? So now that we've done this, we can reference it back out again. So GB equal to float of storage aggregate E divided by, they're in bytes, so 10.4 would be kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes. There, that should be that. Okay. If GB greater than 1000, we'll do 124 because we're being literal about this. GB is say TB. How's the best way to do this? Oh, I can just do it this way. Print total storage used on and then we want to do an F string, and it's going to storage names E, right, is db colon dot two. What the heck did I do? I did it somewhere else up here, right? Did I get rid of that? No. Yeah, it's up in my convert human length up here. Where's my convert to human dot 2f? What it is? Dot 2f. Okay. Oh, no, less than. Else print B is to be divided by 1024 again to give us terabytes, even though it's, we'll call it terabytes. Not make this too confusing, right? Print F total storage. Copy it all. Paste it all. Change that to TB. All right. So that should print out all of our total storage used on all of our storages. We still need to aggregate all of that. So we need to say total storage is equal to total storage plus storage aggregate key. Not that key. This key. Let's see if this works. Roll the dice. Error key. Oh, I did the same thing down here. Yeah. It's a variable, not a string. All right. Yeah. Bummer. Okay, what did I do wrong here? Got all our total hours, collections, assets, video, whatever, file, total storage use. What does it say? Key error. Do I have to go back over it again because maybe I haven't said it yet? No, I. Alright, so 4 key and storage aggregate. Oh. Let's just do this real quick. Print. Because I think probably just a bad call in there. Oh, I did it here. That's why. One more place. Okay. It's literally on the next line. Always like that when it's late in the day, guys. All right. Getting late enough to where I might just say my password out loud because I'm getting kind of tired and, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, crap. Did I not hit save? I didn't hit save. Or else my... Don't need to print all that crap off. Why did it print it? Try that one more time because I think it was supposed to not. Haha, look at that. So we got our total hours, assets, counts, images, storage used on all the various different storages that live inside that collection. And you can see in this case, I have quite a few different items here. And then, let's see, we don't need this anymore. So we just got to loop through. Oh, we did not. So we didn't actually say total storage overall. Okay, and I am doing that right, and then we can say print f total storage used on all storages. Oh, let's do the same logic here because I want to print it out in gigabytes versus terabytes, right? Just do the same thing, copy and paste. here if total storage and actually it's this I need to add in there. And instead it's total storage. And here it all storages. On that. Look at that.